A new uncomfortable conversation is starting up for Seth's group that has everyone talking. We'll also check out what's going on with Bayley, Roman Reigns, and more. Starting things off with everything related to Roman Reigns and Jay versus Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker. Paul Heyman came out to interrupt Jay, and Heyman wasted no time trying to mentally break the bond between Roman and Jay. Heyman brought up Roman and Jay's complicated past, pointing out how even though Roman crowned Jay as his right hand, Roman never really believed in Jay, and that's why Roman made Solo next in line to be the tribal chief, not Jay. So definitely some strong mind games there by Paul Heyman. Heyman was also right there up close and personal with everything that was always happening with the bloodline. Heyman is well aware of all the traumatic experiences Jay went through over the last few years, and Heyman is now trying to use those traumatic experiences and weaponize them to get into Jay's head before SummerSlam, and try to impact the newly formed unity between Jay and Roman. It was a smart plan by Paul Heyman, but it inevitably failed. Jay shook off everything Paul Heyman was saying and didn't let Heyman into his head. This led to a new plan needing to be formed. Bron Breakker and Paul Heyman were seen backstage hyping up Bronson Reed for his match later in the night against Jay. Bronson confidently walked away and got ready for that match. And Bron tells Heyman about how well that went, and also tells Heyman that he has a plan for later in the night. But the camera cuts away before we can hear the details of Bron's plan. But either way, this backstage segment was very important, because in Seth's absence, it kind of seems like Bron Breakker is the one that's really calling the shots here. It was implied that Bron had a say in getting that whole hype speech ready for Bronson Reed. And then of course he mentioned that other plan that he was putting together there. So a strong presentation, and look for Bron Breakker. He was really stepping up here during this week's Raw. And later in the night during the main event, we got to see exactly what Bron's plan was. Bron Breakker ran out during the main event to spear Jay on the entrance ramp. Roman Reigns eventually came out to make the save, giving Jay and himself the upper hand, but it didn't last that long at all. Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker eventually gained the upper hand again, and they absolutely obliterate Roman and Jay. There was even a moment where Bron Breakker stood over Roman and started talking about how this company, the ring, the ropes, and the cameraman all belonged to him, and in how everyone in the arena came to see him, not Roman. This was some fiery words from Bron Breakker, and he was mocking a popular 2022 promo from Roman Reigns, where Roman at the time was talking about how everything in the company was his. Well, now here we are 3 years later, and Bron Breakker is repeating those same words to Roman, letting him know these things no longer belong to Roman. So a nice little deep reference there to that viral Roman promo from several years ago. Bron Breakker then proceeds to spear Roman and Jay through the timekeeper's area. And just when you thought things couldn't get any more personal here, Bronson Reed goes on to literally rip the sneakers off Roman's feet and says that these sneakers belong to him now. Heyman, Bronson, and Bron posed in the center of the ring to close out the show, with Bronson Reed even holding Roman's 2 sneakers in his hands for that closing shot. As everyone knows, looking really dominant in the last show before a big event is usually bad news, and means that you're losing your match at the big event. So the way this segment went down on July 28th pretty much confirmed that Roman and Jay will be winning at SummerSlam. But regardless of that, fans were still absolutely blown away by the performance by Bronson Reed, Bron Breakker, and Paul Heyman during this week's Raw. Since the group first formed in April, everyone has been begging to see something interesting happen with the group. But for nearly 4 months, we got absolutely nothing from Seth's group. 4 months into their time together as a group, and they don't even have an official name. It was just one red flag after the other, and things weren't looking good at all. Fans were wondering if the group was a mistake to put together, and how there was no flow or chemistry there at all. But that had all changed in recent weeks. The second Seth Rollins was removed from the picture, the group started to click in ways that fans have been waiting a long time to see. With Seth not being around, it sort of feels like the dogs were let off the leash, so to speak. Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker are causing absolute havoc, and they have Paul Heyman there as their wise man and their strategist. The group is finally clicking and feels absolutely great. We're finally seeing something interesting happen with the group. Finally, some chemistry is being displayed there that you can really feel. And seeing how great this group has worked in recent weeks without Seth Rollins being around, this is starting up the uncomfortable conversation with fans wondering if Seth Rollins was the problem in the group all along. A lot of fans online are saying that this trio looks and feels a million times better with Seth Rollins removed from the picture. This group alongside Seth went absolutely nowhere during their 4 months altogether. But Seth is gone for a few weeks, and the group suddenly feels alive and so much more impactful without him. So that's something that some fans are asking right now. Was Seth holding the group back? Is Seth the piece that was causing chemistry disruptions there? And that's not a knock at Seth Rollins at all. He's an amazing character and all-around talent. It's just that sometimes some people don't really fit in with certain situations. It's like a team having an amazing, great individual basketball player, but he just doesn't fit in with that specific team and what they're trying to accomplish. It's not that he's a bad basketball player, he's just not a perfect match for that collective team. And that's what fans are wondering about right now. Is this group really better off with Seth Rollins out of the picture? There were even some fans online that were huge Seth Rollins fans, and they said that they can't lie. The group feels better without him being involved. So it's not to say to get Seth Rollins cut from the group right away, but maybe they do got to go back to the drawing board and examine why the group works so well without Seth versus why they go so flat with him. There's some disconnection and issues there that has to be addressed if this group is going to be together for the long haul. So it's nice to see the group finally take off after months of nothing, but fans are hoping that all this momentum hopefully will not be wiped away once Seth is back. There's still no word on when exactly Seth Rollins will be back, but the rumor is that it's not anything crazy serious and that he'll be making a surprise return sometime in the near future. So definitely a lot to look forward to there for when it comes to Seth's group on Monday Night Raw. Bayley may not have a literal match at SummerSlam, but she does have a very interesting storyline heading into that big event. Bayley was interviewed on the July 28th edition of Raw, and she was very down and out. Bayley touched on how she missed WrestleMania and how she was now missing SummerSlam as well. Bayley said she was at a loss for words and walked off the interview. It looks like this drought of not having any matches on the biggest events of the year is definitely starting to catch up to Bayley and really get inside her head. A lot of fans are suspicious that what Bayley is going through right now mentally could lead towards another heel turn for Bayley. Technically, Bayley has only been a babyface again since 2024, so if she turns again, that would be a short run. But maybe Bayley is just realizing that being nice is literally getting her nowhere. Maybe if she spices up her attitude and starts demanding things again, maybe that'll put her back on the cards again for all these major shows. So Bayley may not be wrestling at SummerSlam, but a lot of fans expect for her to show her face during the Becky and Lyra match. And maybe that's the spot where Bayley finally turns as well. So a lot of eyes are on Bayley there. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below, don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys!